Hello there, beautiful mummies to be, anybody who's interested in watching these programs. I just wanted to share with you today about exercising. Exercising through pregnancy. Now, before I became pregnant, I personally, I've always tried to maintain my physical health through exercise, with running, going to the gym, resistance exercises, swimming. I love my yoga. Yoga is powerful. Sorry, we have a cat joining us right now. This is Hercules. Hello, Hercules. Hey, baby. So that's why the bed's rocking. We sat on the bed today having a conversation. Okay. For myself, so we have a cat's tail now. For myself, obviously, what they tend to say, the typical advice, is that if you were already doing certain exercises before pregnancy, and as long as they are safe to continue, as in they're not too dangerous, you're not about to fall from any high space or anything like that, then it's fine to continue that exercise as long as you feel okay within yourself to do so. So again, I say this throughout lots of the videos, like it's very important to listen to your own body. For myself, I have very luckily in this pregnancy felt fine to continue everything pretty much as normal, to be honest. As I've hit my sort of 4.5-month stage, the tummy has popped, okay? It's kind of sprung out of nowhere and shown itself. So what I'm finding is, like, the rowing machine, for example, is suddenly, I know probably a week or two more and I'm gonna have to stop the rowing machine because my knees keep bashing my belly. Okay, so obviously, and also I'll be on it for like 2 minutes and the movement of it just makes me burst for a wee. So obviously, like, the position you're in, your knees going up and down, getting closer to your stomach and kind of compressing your stomach slightly every time, it makes me need a wee. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to manage that one much longer. However, I'm still fine with the running, and yeah, running, I don't run for as long. I tend to do more fast-paced walking, holding my posture and position, which is really helping with the core strength as well. I'm very conscious when I'm working out, especially with my pelvic floor. Now, I've always tended to be like this for years, to be honest, but especially through pregnancy, I've become more conscious of my working with my core strength, and putting extra sort of tension into my cervix area, I guess, for the pelvic floor, to help keep that strong through the pregnancy. Okay, so we're by keeping our own bodies strong, fit and healthy through pregnancy, we're also helping to support a very safe space for our babies to grow. Now, please, I can imagine for some of you that it's going to be so annoying to listen to me right now. As I've said before, this pregnancy, I'm actually fine and I feel full of energy and I'm managing to carry everything on as normal pretty much. With my first pregnancy, now this was going back 14 years ago, my first pregnancy was, well, the second, because I miscarried a few months before falling pregnant with my very healthy and beautiful daughter. We have another cat joining us, Isis here. Okay, and that was a very different experience, the pregnancy. So I completely empathize with mothers who, really want to exercise, really want to try and maintain some fitness level through this pregnancy, but are just struggling physically, emotionally, mentally. I empathize with you massively, because that's exactly how I was in my first pregnancy. So in my first pregnancy, before falling pregnant, I was very fit. You know, I'd be in the gym just about every day, a very intense 2-3 hour workout some days. I was a bit of a gym fanatic, so to speak. However, when I fell pregnant, within the first few weeks, my energy levels just depleted. And this ended up being pretty much throughout most of the pregnancy, that I'd be in the gym and I would literally be on a machine like the cross trainer for 2 or 3 minutes. My body would be aching from the inside out, and I'd be feeling like I just wanted to cry. I felt so exhausted. And that used to make me feel so upset, like I was really, sorry, more cats bouncing around on the bed, like I was really letting myself down, like I was just losing all of this control over my body. And even though I wanted to try and be fit and healthy throughout the pregnancy, I was feeling like I was being restricted because my body just physically wasn't allowing me to do that. Now, in the next video, I am going to be addressing diet, food, some tips on different things to help us through there, because if anything, the biggest difference with this pregnancy to my last pregnancy is my diet, and I genuinely feel that that is hugely responsible for the very different experience that I'm having now as well. So yeah, please do join me for that one shortly. But yoga, now, I always used to love my yoga. Going back 14 years ago, it seemed like there was a very limited amount of information of what you could and couldn't do in pregnancy. You'd go to the gym and the instructors were scared to give you advice and information because they were scared of getting it wrong. They seemed to not know. And they, you know, they didn't want to be liable for anything if anything happened to you, obviously. Also, yoga and things, I remember lots of different pieces of advice being given to me, like you mustn't do exercises raising your arms in the air, having your hands above your head, you mustn't do any exercises laid on your back, and doing all these different things. This time round, I'm exposed to so much information that it's just giving me a very different experience of what I'm feeling I'm allowed to do and not to do. But I'm also in a space now where I just feel, listen to myself, listen to my own body, what feels right for me. Don't just take on board what other people are saying. And even if they seem to be coming across as like, you know, professionals and things, just what feels right for you. Don't let other people push you if something's feeling uncomfortable. But now we are exposed to the world of the internet, so many YouTube videos, everything is so accessible. We don't necessarily have to pay for certain things. And it's wonderful because it just helps us to access a lot more information. So if you go on YouTube and you just type in pregnancy yoga, so many videos are going to come up, and just go through them and find ones that suit you. Yoga is a wonderful way for de-stressing the body, stretching out the muscles. I do a bit of yoga every day. Some days I'll try and do a longer session, but if I've already been to the gym that day, or if I've been swimming or something, then I might just do a few stretches, like literally 2 or 3 stretches. And then other days I'll have a longer yoga session. I do love my yoga. Being slightly bigger chested anyway, oh, the cats are going crazy. Being slightly bigger chested, I have to do a lot of work to keep my back strong, so that yeah, so yoga is wonderful for that. Hello, Hercules. There's another cat going across, sorry. Yeah, so yoga. Now, I've been seeing a lot of videos coming up as well on Facebook and Instagram, all these different back supports and stuff that you can get to help you through pregnancy. And that's wonderful. And if you feel that you really need that to help you and support you, because our back and our hips are probably some of the worst places that we can get our sort of regular niggles and pains. yeah, so that's great. But honestly, yoga for me, if I have the slightest back pain, I just do a bit of yoga, and it just relieves the tension from the spine, from the muscles. It helps to stretch everything out. And if you're consciously doing the yoga, you can consciously disperse of any clogged energies that are in your system as you're doing the yoga. So it's like stretching out the muscles and helping the energy release that's causing the tension as well. And having a nice little meditation after yoga as well is wonderful. So, go with what feels right for you. If you are in pain at all, when I've been swimming sometimes, with breaststroke, I'm pretty much okay. So if I go on my back and I start kicking my legs and things, like uh, swimming on my back, well, it's more of the kicking your legs action that seems to be putting strain and sometimes giving me some sharp pains in my stomach. So obviously I'm listening to that and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to push it. I won't do that. Now, also, you may have some psychological issues. This is again something with when I was pregnant with my daughter Anisha that I know impacted me a lot through my pregnancy. Based on past experiences, you may have people close to you that have had some really not very nice experiences through pregnancy, and you're scared of the same thing happening to you. Or like myself, just before falling pregnant with my daughter, I had a miscarriage. I didn't know that I was pregnant at the time until I miscarried, and it was quite an early miscarriage. I was about 8 weeks pregnant at the time, but still, it was a very emotional and difficult time. So, falling pregnant with my daughter a few months after, I was so paranoid that I was going to do something that to for the same thing to happen again, and I was so scared. So the minute I felt tired, the minute I felt not great in any way, I just thought I have to rest, or I'd get myself even more worked up. You know, this is long before any expansion of awareness. Inner reflection, self-awareness, expanded consciousness, before all those days, in its own way, on a conscious level. But that did impact me. So when I said I'd be in the gym and my body would be aching from the inside out, and I'd feel so tired and exhausted, sometimes I am aware that part of me just giving up and not doing anything was because I was scared that I was going to push myself and end up, maybe losing the baby. That's like our biggest fear, I think, throughout pregnancy. So be aware of that. Try to release the fear that has been instilled from any past trauma. And don't, being pregnant, if you've had some not so great experiences before, that can really bring up the emotions and the same fears for this pregnancy too. So it's a wonderful time to take time and space for yourself to allow those feelings to come up and work with them and do some inner healing work. You can go to other people to assist you with that for healing. You can sit in meditation, call in your guardian angels, your guides, and do some self-healing. Use a tuning forks, different oils, in whichever way you can help yourselves to release some of the impact of trauma in your system from past experiences in relation to pregnancy. Or losing a child, maybe. Okay. But just be aware of some of the psychological issues, and the mind has such power over the body. So I think with this pregnancy, a big thing as well for me is that I'm very aware, and it's like, well, you know what? If this is meant to be, it's going to be. And I've kind of released a lot of responsibility on whether this life, it sounds almost terrible to say, but whether this life makes it to the earth or not. I mean, it's already here, but being born into the world, growing up happy, healthy, Once he's born, definitely. Whilst he's here, I do everything I can whilst he's inside me as well. But there are certain things we just don't have a control of. And sometimes we're just meant to have certain experiences. Now, a couple of years ago, well, about 4 years ago now, I had another miscarriage, and I lost at 5 weeks. And I was, because of the way everything was based around that pregnancy, it was a huge shock to me. I really didn't think anything was going to go wrong, but I did. And after a couple of days of the miscarriage, I was having to really look after myself because there was a lot of heavy bleeding and stuff. But I was also in shock, because when you miscarry, you're in shock. Suddenly, like, you have all these hopes and dreams for the future, and in a moment it gets taken away. And that is the biggest trauma of healing from miscarriage, is this feeling of grieving your dreams. Basically, that's what you're grieving, because though the life was inside of you, you haven't physically spent time with that child and got to know it and done activities with them and all these different things. So what you're grieving more than anything is the dream. And that's what I was told in my meditation. When the angels and the masters came to me to assist me with the healing, they helped me to see things from other perspectives, and from a space of heart truth, if you like. So that did really help me. It wasn't so much the life lost, but the dream. Because when these little ones inside of us, they're not suffering. Whatever they're going through, they're not really suffering, especially early on in the pregnancy. In physical matter, they're not developed enough to feel the pain of anything. So we instantly might have this fear that, oh my gosh, my baby suffered, it was in pain. That's not the case, okay? And sometimes certain things are meant to happen, even though it's beyond our comprehension, and it feels so unfair to even say that in our human experience. But there are things operating on such a higher level. Sometimes it's just too far outreach for us to be able to grasp and comprehend in our human processing for where we're at right now. So when I had this miscarriage a couple of years ago, or 4 years ago, in meditation, this is what I was told: you're mourning the dream, and this is why people suffer so much in the grieving process. And so then the soul of my child came to me, and he said to me, "It's okay, Mummy, I'll be back soon." Now with that, it was just this feeling of it just gave me that such inner peace. And I thought, how can I be sad? How can I grieve a life gone when he's not gone? He's still there, he's with me. And it's just that, and he's coming back soon. I've just got to wait a little longer to meet him. Okay, so so as soon as I found out that I was pregnant this time around, I was like, oh my goodness, he's back. Now, even in the last 4 years, I've been communicating with the soul of this baby, probably every week. At some point, he's let himself be known that he's around me. So when I say he's back, I mean his physical matter is re-embodying. His soul is re-embodying into physical matter, and he's now physically here inside of me, growing. And yeah, so I'm very happy for that. But like I said, that really helped me at the time, when his soul just said, "It's okay, Mummy, I've had to go away, but I'll be back soon." I thought it would be quicker than 4 years. I had no idea how that was going to happen based on lots of different reasons, but you know, I do believe in miracles. so yeah, that had a big impact on well, the first time round when I had the miscarriage had a big impact on my belief system and lots of fears that I had, like, oh, being careful what I ate, what I did, all these different things, because I was so worried about harming the baby. This time round, I'm just like, I get on with everything because in my heart, I just believe and I know that everything is going to be fine and he is fine. I'm listening to my body, eating the foods that I like, that I enjoy, without being made to feel guilty about different things. The first time around, people were saying to me, oh, you mustn't eat any spicy foods when I was pregnant with Anisha. I love my spicy food, but I didn't because people were saying to me it wasn't good. This time around, I just think, well, no, if anything, I crave my food slightly spicier. And I actually get a strong feeling that as this little one grows up, he's going to have a really good taste for spicy food too. Which my daughter, interestingly, doesn't, because I was worried and I was taking on other people's advice, so I stayed away from it. This time round, like my dad said to me, well, if anybody liked her spicy food, it was your granny. My granny had 15 children, okay, and she didn't change her diet for anybody. Yeah, and everybody's all fine. So just listen to your body. And sometimes in exercise, as long as you're not in pain, try and push through some of the early stages of aches and tiredness. And if it really is just too much for you, obviously don't push too hard. But sometimes there is, even when you're not pregnant, sometimes it's like just getting through that first hurdle, that first barrier point. I know that whenever I go swimming, sometimes the first 10 lengths tend to be the more tiring, and then after that I can just go for ages. It's like you hit this certain point and you get past that barrier. Hello, baby. You get past that barrier and yeah, you feel fine. So listen to your body, but also try not to be afraid, based on past experiences as well, or the information of too many other people. Just listen to what feels right for you. Meditate for guidance. With the running, I actually had a thought the other day that with the impact of the running, like, is that making him jiggle around inside me too much? Is that uncomfortable for him? Does he not like the sensation? So I asked him, how do you feel about mummy running still? How does that feel for you? Because I can stop if you don't like it. He said, no, I actually, it's a really strange sensation and I quite enjoy it. So yeah, and but he also advised me just for shorter times. He's the one that advised me for shorter times. So that's brilliant. I keep running and he quite enjoys it. Maybe a bit like a fairground ride. I don't know, maybe he's going to be a bit of a daredevil, this one. So yeah. Sorry, 23, over 23 minutes this video. So I shall leave it there. Much love to you, ladies and daddies, anybody who's listening. Enjoy the rest of your day. God bless.